More than half the satellites in space are owned and controlled by one man. Elon Musk and his company Starlink operate more than 4,500 of them. The technology gives customers and whole countries high-speed internet and the ability to communicate in places that otherwise wouldn't have connection. Nowhere are the benefits more evident than in Ukraine. The Ukrainian troops need Starlink's satellites to communicate with each other and wouldn't be able to fight Russia without it. But as the country is learning, Elon Musk has complete control of the technology and can turn off satellites whenever he wants. And that has military and political leaders around the world worried and questioning whether one man, who is at times erratic, should have complete control of the skies. NewsNation's Brooke Schaefer joins us with more. Hey, Brooke.
Hey, Elizabeth. SpaceX is planning another launch of Starlink satellites tonight, those adding to the thousands already in space. But as that happens, there are conversations swirling about the man behind Starlink, Elon Musk, and the power he has in space.
Starlink 6-9, go for launch.
Earlier this month, another round of Starlink satellites went up into space.
3, 2, 1, ignition, and liftoff. Go Falcon, go Starlink.
21 new satellites joining the now more than 4,500 orbiting the Earth, beaming down internet from space, connecting people even in the most remote areas to high-speed internet. Nicholas Elon is a former U.S. Air Force and Space Force chief software officer.
Without SpaceX, I would have no internet to talk to you right now.
The satellites are slowly separating from the second stage. Shortly, they will deploy their solar arrays.
Essentially, the satellites are about 300 miles up or so, and there's going to be a huge network of them. The satellites then all talk to each other and share data. That way they can send it quicker back down to your home.
The technology has assisted after natural disasters and has become a critical part of Ukraine's military strategy as they continue their defense against Russia. Starlink satellite internet allowing for battlefield communication, while also reportedly helping Ukraine coordinate drone strikes against Russia. But now there are some concerns about the man behind Starlink. Starlink, engineered by Elon Musk, founded SpaceX. He's increasingly voiced his opinion of the war. Musk last year threatened to pull the satellite internet from Ukraine. A recent New York Times article reporting that Musk temporarily cut off Starlink access in Ukraine multiple times during the war, writing that, quote, with little regulation and oversight, his erratic and personality-driven style has increasingly worried militaries and political leaders around the world.
When you look at the landscape of the capabilities he has access to, it's always interesting. But you could say the same of Amazon. You know, if you look at the consumption of cloud in DoD, probably 90+% is on Amazon.
New reports allege the U.S. government has donated 5,000 Starlink terminals to Ukraine, an estimate total of $10 million U.S. taxpayer dollars. The Pentagon saying this in June.
As you've heard us talk about, for reasons of operational security and due to the critical nature of satellite communication systems, it's just something that we're just not able to get into details at this time.
But with headlines including a proposed cage match with Facebook's Mark Zuckerberg and Musk's controversial takeover of Twitter, now X, some are wondering whether Musk or any person should have this much control over the skies and space.
That expert we talked to explains it is now a race for global governments to come up with the satellite technology much like Starlink. He tells us these satellites may be the future for military efforts around the globe. Elizabeth?
All right, Brooke, thank you. Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.